bruh. Look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No, 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 no. Look at the top of his head. Look at his lips.
What if I told you that these were the final starter evolution designs for Pokemon Sword and Shield, and that this was exactly the same question that was asked for Sun and Moon back when these were revealed to us earlier around this similar time before the games came out? What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Pokeface here, and in this video, guys, I found these designs specifically on 4chan, where you can find loads of designs, and there's so many really cool designs out there, guys. But these inspired me to make this video because of how realistic I thought these looked compared to other ones. And there's loads of realistic ones that have already been debunked. For example, that really cool Loch Ness water dragon looking one that basically said piss on its on the picture of its head, which is, you know what, childish, and it's not something Pokemon would do. But I'm gonna go through these, guys, and tell you why I think these could be what we're going to get in the Pokemon games, and what I think about the initial design, etc. And I'm gonna try my best to see if I can debunk them in the same sort of light because of that. So if we look at the different things we have in these designs, here's the water, here's the fire, here's the grass. Now, what do I think the typings are? Quickly to start off with, I think this is going to be a water poison type. I think it's going to be a fire electric, quite obviously, and this could be either grass ground or grass rock, but I'm going to say grass rock more because I want it to be a grass rock rather than it actually being it. Now let's look at these designs. So what does it say up here first? It says Sono o mawari ni spike ga aru rasenke o shite imasu, which means like it basically, its tail has this shape to it, and it has spikes on it as well, you know, which is what we can see. Would Pokemon write this, considering it's quite obvious? Well, probably, possibly, because like if we compare this, right, a lot of people will look at these designs and say, oh, these are definitely fake. Look at the Pokemon Sun and Moon leaks, and they had a lot more on them, and you know, you would be right to say that. We look here, there's so much written on them, so much put into these designs. Well, first of all, we don't know if this design is exactly the same, and also if we look at, for example, the Gen 6 designs, look how simple these were in their design. Even if you look at Dartrix's design, it was so simple. So if anything, maybe this is the anomaly, even though it was real. So we can't just say that for sure. We would have to look at the types of Japanese being used, whether the Japanese is accurate. Now, guys, I can read katakana, I can read hiragana, and I can translate decently well. My kanji could be worked on, and so because of that as well, maybe the kanji they're using isn't the best. So, you know, you tell me. Here we have the back view of it. Here it says Kamarusu. Now, I don't know what that word means. I'm guessing Kamarusu is like chameleon or chemicals or something, and therefore, you know, a poison chameleon would make sense. Here's the designs of the eyes. Here as well, if we see, it says Rongu Bode Daku Pareto Spy. So it says long body, dark palette, meaning like obviously I guess dark colors that are being used in this case. Or, you know, maybe this is a water dark type, like Greninja, but I doubt they're going to do that so closely on. They could. And it says spy. I don't know why it says spy. It's in katakana, so maybe really it's trying to say it's like a spy, maybe. And you can see that maybe with the idea that Sobble is camouflaging away. I can see its eyes turning like this simply because of Sobble's almost crying. You know, Sobble's name comes from like a sobbing bubble, so that'd be quite cool. But it does look in general like a really cool design for that sort of chameleon sort of thing there. And I think it draws into a lot of the former starters. We can see a bit of Swampert in it. We can see a bit of Samurott in it with some of the colours as well. We can see a bit of Greninja with the tongue there. So there's a few things we can see because of that. Obviously, everything having the confidential logo, which you don't see on this, you don't see on Dartrix, but you do see on these over here and here. Now, this confidential logo and the designs itself are quite clean, so it's almost as if it was definitely created by a designer. Here we can see the front view, side view of it as well, and I can see that it is most likely to become like a horned chameleon with those spikes, and I could see the sobble little thing on the back of his head turning into these things as well. Okay, what do we get here? We get a side view of this final Score Bunny evolution, which they've done quite well, whoever the designer is. If this is official, they haven't forgotten about the little pads there. It's cool to see how this little pad turns into this like electricity sort of thing here. And we'll see once we get the leaks for the, or if we get the middle evolutions revealed, whether or not that little patch that Score Bunny has ends up becoming a bit more spiky. So we can see it's transitioning into this. It'll give a bit more credit to these designs if they are real. What else does it say? So here just is like back sprite. Tamago pampu, so egg pump. We can see here. I don't know where they're going to be pumping the eggs from, but it would be cool to see that like Score Bunny's final evolution using these as almost like ammunition if these have like little bombs. A lot of people were rumoring that the final evolutions will, just like in Gen 7, have a specific move to them, which is always cool. I think it was a cool feature in Gen 7 and in other games as well. So I think it would be cool for this to happen as well here, especially with these eggs that are being shown. It's almost like this is going to be a bit based on the Easter Bunny, and there's a lot of Easter traditions that we have in the UK as well, you know, still classed almost as a Christian country, so those celebrations are there as well. Here it says Aitake, so it's like open fist, and Aijuta, which is like closed, and then fist. And here it says, I don't know what this kanji is, but it says Satoshi something starter. So, you know, so this is definitely going to be trying to say, I checked this kanji before, I think it's something like regional in terms of translation. So this would be like Ash's, or which is obviously Satoshi, first pick, I guess, in the Galar region. This is going to be his starter that he goes along in the journey with. It's cool to see the height comparison, and it's cool to see that we've seen this kind of thing with the Mallow and Ash over here. And, you know, people were looking at this and thinking, who's this girl? And when it was revealed, it provided so much evidence to support this design, and it was almost like given, yep, these are definitely going to be the final star evolutions. With Incineroar here, you can see Mallow and Ash, and, you know, Ash's design being similar to what he was wearing, not exactly the same. So it would be cool to see if we get any sort of leaks or reveals of what Ash's design is going to be in the Galar region. If it does look like this, if he's wearing a tracksuit similar to this, with a hat that's like this, because we've seen so many of Ash's previous hats with the logo normally being in the front. So would they change it to the side? Possibly. I can see them doing that at some point, especially if we look at, for example, how Ash was dressed in the Magirna film in one of those like more English traditional clothing, and his hat wasn't too different to this. So maybe this is what the designer was trying to base it off, or maybe this is the actual design, guys. And they'll have the little Pokeball on the side here. I can see Ash wearing this, and that's what makes it more creditable. The one thing I would pull out is that this says Satoshi in hiragana, and we know that Pokemon always write Satoshi in katakana. Now, I don't know why they write it in katakana, considering Satoshi is a Japanese name, but like I said, I'm not a native Japanese speaker, so I wouldn't know this too well as to why, and so we'll need someone to properly translate it so that we can get a better gist of whether or not these are real or not. But yeah, it says Satoshi in hiragana here instead of katakana. And if we look just generally in the design, I think it's a cool design. I think it's not too simplistic, and yet it's not too overdone. We've seen so many other starter designs for the Score Bunny Final Evolution, a lot of which are much better than these in my opinion. But at the same time, it's cool that it's not going to be a fire fighting, I guess. And also, I do like the electricity that comes from the different patches that it had on its feet and stuff. So they're almost like electricity tabs that they have. He has almost like fighting pants. So I'm guess if no one saw this electricity or this design, they might still think it would have been a firefighting. But here, it's clearly a fire electric type based on this design. And I think it's quite cool that even though it looks like a firefighting, it's fire electric. And I think it would be a very fast Pokemon, and so that would be really cool to see how it plays out in competitive, even though it's quite weak to ground. And if we look at the final one of these three, which is the Grookey final evolution, and this is obviously either going to be a grass rock or a grass ground type. I hope it's grass rock because I like the grass rock typing in general. I think it's very good defensively. I think it's going to be a bulky type as well, or a bulky Pokemon, sorry. And I think we've already had Torterra, and it's not to say we won't get another grass ground type, of course. And to be honest, it probably will be a grass ground type, even though I want it to be a grass rock type. But as we know, grass ground is also quad weak to ice, so there's a lot of things that are weird about it, but who knows. But let's look at some of the Japanese they have here. Here it's like Kuchino Naka, I think, is this one, which means inside the mouth. Now, would that be the appropriate way of writing mouth features or the mouth personalities or designs? I thought they would just put mouth there. But again, like I said, I don't know. This probably is the right way to put it. Let's look at if they have anything here, for example. Well, to be fair, it's very blurry anyway. But yeah, not too sure. And here it says Goriberi. I don't know what these berries will do. I think it might be to do with his... Actually, I don't know what they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be with his specific attacking move. I think it will be more to do with this drum-like body it has and these rock ground sort of gloves they're wearing. What does it say here? This says... something like... I don't know what that says. Nashide wa kare no kami wa nichimasu. So it's something along the lines of you remove this stick from its hair and its hair falls down to be fallen. So that's quite cool. It's a nice little feature they have there. Here it says hara ni ataru something ga shimasu. So something like to hit the belly. And a lot of people thought of it as having this drum feature to it, but they thought that they would take the stick out and that stick would end up being like a big drumstick or being like this giant baton or something. But according to this design, it won't be. It will just be this little thing in its hair, which I had this feeling it might be when I saw Grookey initially. But it still does have that belly feature, that drum feature, so it'd be cool if it has belly drum, especially because it is a bulky Pokemon, so to have that belly drum as well, a bit like the Snorlax sort of vibe that comes from it. And it uses these giant rock arms to play with its drum. And I think it's quite cool because even though we see the back sprite here, we see the front sprite there, which is quite typical of Pokemon. I think it's quite cool because it's almost like you can imagine Grookey playing around in mud, and that mud hardens to make these fists. As you can see, the feet still stay this orange color, and you see loads of this brown coloration around. And to be fair, the UK is quite muddy, especially because of how much rain we have, so that's quite cool. Scorbunny is going to most likely turn into an electric type because the industry we have and stuff, maybe a fire steel, not this, but like in general, if this is fake, then maybe it'll turn into a fire steel type. But in general, I think these designs are really cool. Like I said, the Japanese here is a bit mad. Maybe the Japanese in general isn't great, like you have to check the kanji. In terms of just direct translations and stuff, I think it's alright. I think it's portraying what it is trying to, but you need to ask a native speaker because they'll understand whether or not it's appropriate to, for example, say inside the mouth, or mouth expressions from what I'm reading, and some of the words they use here as well. So yeah guys, this is my initial ideas. I think that based on these designs, I don't know which one I would pick. I think they're all quite decent. I think this is exactly in the ballpark of what Pokemon would do, so I can't say either way which one I would pick. I'll probably play the game each time with all of them, but with Gen 7 I was just so attracted to Rowlet. With the Kalos region, I was so attracted to the Greninja and the Froakie as a starter. So it's cool to have to be undecisive at this point, because it makes having to choose your star a lot more difficult, which is how it's meant to be, you know. So that is cool to see. What is your guys' ideas and thoughts on these designs? Would you be angry if these were the actual final starter evolutions for the Galar region? Do you think this is real as a post? Do you think Ash's design is going to be like this? Do you think the Japanese is alright, even though this is quite clearly a mistake, I'm guessing? What do you think about the special moves they might have? Like, for example, that. I'm guessing this special move would be based on his tail. But yeah, guys, right now I'm just rambling on. I think they're all decent designs. I like this caveman sort of ogre design here. We expect it to be a bulky, more feminine. You can see this sort of bun here with the hair clip, so I do see this as being more feminine, which is what we expected. So a fast fire type, which is what we expected, a bulky feminine grass type, and a mixed attacker water type. And the designer could have clearly based this on a few of the leaks and rumors that we've already got. But regardless, yeah guys, what's your thoughts? Tell me down below, which one would you pick if these are actually the final starter evolutions? Or does this change your mind on which starter you would want to pick? And how valid do you think these are as leaks? So yeah guys, that'll be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.